Welcome back to the Devil's Den. Chris, we've got 3 matches. Now we've seen Amorim and his side. How are we feeling after those 3 matches? It's been a good few weeks, I'd like to say, but how are you feeling after those matches?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. It's the new era has begun. Like you said, we've seen 3 matches under the new manager, and um, although 2 wins and 1 draw, I like to think that we have played pretty well, and we have seen some big improvements over the last couple weeks. Definitely.
Yeah, not to mention we saw him really take over and take his idea and his system and implements it on the pitch.
Yeah,
And
right
it's been
away.
interesting to see. Yeah, it's been interesting to see how the players have adapted because in the first match, I think, and we can talk about it a little bit more in a second here, but against Ipswich, I'm not so sure that we had the personnel to really deploy what he wanted to do. And the main point I'm going to talk about here is that Ericsson and Casemiro were in the midfield, which 2 phenomenal players, and they're a little bit older, and like we've talked about before, they just don't really have the legs to be executing a system that needs players who are very fit. And Amarim even talked about how even not just them two, but the whole squad really could use a bit more, fitness and just be a lot better in terms of their cardio. So having them two in the
Yeah.
midfield, in my opinion, was kind of the X factor that allowed Ipswich to really kind of control the game, if you will. I know that they had a good spell for the last 25 minutes of the first half. Second half wasn't really as dominant, and I think it was kind of a boring second half, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, we scored almost immediately with Rashford, really high intensity right away. But I think the intensity kind of just fell off right after
Yeah.
that. It was a great ball by Ahmad, who didn't. I believe it was that match that he took on a few of the players and just took them through the wing, and then
Yeah.
played a beautiful ball
Some
into
huge,
Rashford.
huge run up the wing, and then played it out to Rashford.
Yeah, who had a really lucky deflection. Well, I say lucky, but I think he got decent, not decent
Yeah.
contact. He got some contact, enough
Yeah.
contact on the ball to score the goal at least. But yeah, it was definitely not the best start for us under him. And like we said in the last podcast, though, I don't think we were really expecting anything crazy because
No.
he did just come in. And he's only had 2 trainings before the Ipswich match, and I don't think any fan should be overreacting and saying, "Oh my gosh, that match was such a terrible display." But I thought against Bodo Glimt we were much better, and although he did rotate a lot, so we saw the likes of Anthony and Mason Mount started. I believe Ericsson also started that match as well.
Hmm.
So I do think it wasn't the final squad that we're going to see under Amorim, but against Everton, we definitely saw a bit more of a dominant side, really, because he had a lot more of those injured players back, and people seem to be a bit more athletic and a bit more. Maybe they've had 7, 8, or however many trainings they've had under him since then, and it seemed like they've
Yeah.
been getting the system a little bit better. And it was interesting to see he went from Hojlund in the Bodo Glimt match, and he moved to having Xerxes in there. Chris, how would you say we played against Bodo Glimt, Everton, and Ipswich?
Yeah. I think you said it pretty well. We didn't have the best performance against Ipswich, but it's not. I know they are in 19th place, so it is a team that we should be beating comfortably. But to be fair to Ipswich, they played great. Like for us, not. I think you're right with we didn't have the right midfield personnel. I think Amram understood that too eventually, because you kind of lose a man in the midfield when you go to that system, and you need the legs for at least one of those 2 central midfielders to be able to track, and our midfield was kind of left open because of that. So that was a big reason why we weren't able to control the game as much against Ipswich. And then the Bodo match, I was only able to watch a couple minutes of it. I saw some of the goals, but I think Hoyland looked great. And we kind of saw the him utilizing the squad more because this is his first couple matches with the team. He's going to rotate. He's going to see which players are suited to which position. So there's going to be a lot of rotation, and we should expect to see more of that in the coming weeks. And then against Everton. it's definitely our best performance out of the three. Obviously, a 4-0 win. We look comfortable. It was a combination of us playing well and Everton playing really terribly. They defended horribly all match. And then I think at least two or three of the goals were just Everton mistakes, kind of gifting us chances. But you got to finish those chances off to score goals. So it's good to see our strikers finally putting away chances that they should be scoring. Um, and yeah, I think 3 games on, we've seen definitely there's definitely been a big difference between the Everton match and the Ipswich match, I'd say. Um, I know we're going to discuss this a bit more, but we have the Arsenal match coming up, so that's going to be another big test. So he's starting to find his feet. He's finding his players. There's definitely a few players that we'll talk about who are I think we will both agree that are going to be like solidified starters. They have their positions in this team already because they've looked fantastic. Um, but yeah, I think it's been a all around really good start for Amarim.
Yeah, I'd like to agree with you as well. It's been fairly positive, and he has gotten kind of lucky with the first 3 matches being against sides that, aren't the best, and they're not the top dogs when it comes to the Premier League or in Europa League as well. I mean, we played against the Norwegian side, which they win the Norwegian. I think they just won the Norwegian League again, actually, a few days ago, which crazy that it ends now. But yeah, in Europa League, it was good to see us get a win as well because that puts us back
Yep,
into contention for, I believe, the top 8
like the
get
automatic
yeah, they get
qualification.
automatic qualification for the knockout rounds and not have to go through the playoffs, which is pretty important because that could save us some matches, which would be great for the legs. But it's also good to see
Yep.
some players coming back. We had Maguire came back, Luke Shaw came back, and he's slowly integrating them into the system. Luke Shaw, honestly, has kind of surprised me. He's played well at center back, and I think that he might be going to continue there going forward. But also, in regards to these 3 matches, the first match, yeah, was a bit lackluster, and I don't think we can draw too many conclusions from that match. Ipswich did play really well, and we only have had 2 trainings under Amorim so far, so I don't think you can draw too many conclusions from that match. But it was good to see that in the Bodo Glimt match, we had Hojlund up top, and he played fantastic. He
Yeah.
scored 2 goals. He was a presence up top, and he was just really kind of dominant, honestly. And without him, we probably would not have won the match. So
Hmm.
kudos to him. And then in the Everton match, it was kind of surprising, really, to see Xerxes from a fan perspective up top starting because you thought, oh, Hoyland just scored. Under Ten Hag, he didn't really rotate the squad almost ever, really. Eric Ten Hag was not good at rotating the squad. And we saw some rotation in the squad there with, Xerxes and Hoyland switching. And it was kind of good to see. And then Xerxes, man, he really put a good performance in. The
Did.
reason why I think he worked out under Amorim against Everton is that he was able to come back and really show as an option, which he was an outlet ball a few times. I remember, I think Everton was kind of pressing a little bit higher at some points, and they would play high against, I think it was Delo, was pressured one time, and Delo just got it, pinged the ball right to the feet of Xerxes, and Xerxes was really good at this. He's really good at interplay, and he just lays it off to Bruno. Bruno switches it, I think, to Kobe, and then Kobe played it to Ahmad, and then we had a good chance there. But there's a few times where Xerxes would kind of just drop off, and he's willing to do that all the time because
Yeah.
he almost kind of plays like an attacking midfielder, but just really sweet on the ball. And then that, I think it was the first goal of the second half, so it was our third goal in the match. I believe they booted the ball deep. Casemiro headed it. Then Bruno chips it to Xerxes, who's around the midfield at that point. And Ahmad, he's very fast. He's just sprinting out. And their left back, I think it was, I don't know who Everton's left back is. It's Mikolenko or something like that.
Yeah.
He was out of position. He was way too central. So then
Hmm.
Xerxes, with his back to goal, plays a beautiful ball behind him into Ahmad's path. And Ahmad's just zooming down the wing. And Everton's kind of just all over the place. And then Rashford makes a nice darting run across Ahmad. And Ahmad just kind of just plays a simple pass. And then Rashford finished it,
Yeah.
which for me, Ahmad has really been the man of the match in the 2 matches that he played because, man, he for how small he is, oh man, he is just so aggressive and he really just wants the ball all the time. He makes stuff happen, and then even when he's off the ball, he's making stuff happen with. I believe 2 of our goals actually came from
Hmm.
pressures Yeah, two.
Yeah,
He pressured Tarkowski once, and then he might have pressured him again for the other
I
goal.
think Braithwaite.
Oh, Braithwaite, yeah,
I
but
think so.
he's just an absolute monster. He's really aggressive. He wins
Yeah.
headers against some of these giants too, which is just crazy to see. So I've been really impressed by him. And Anthony played in the Bodo Glimt match, which I was interested to see whether it would actually work out. And I mean, obviously, maybe give him a few more chances to see if it'll work out under Emery. But I don't know. He really didn't impress me against Bodo Glimt. And there was a few times, I don't know if you weren't watching, but Mason Mount made really good runs where he was onside, similar runs to the run Rashford made actually,
Hmm.
and he was so clearly the only option. Like you and me playing, or even a 5-year-old playing, would have probably thought, "Oh, I'm just going to pass it to Mason Mount because he's right there," and it would have been a fantastic chance. But Anthony, like 3 or 4 times, just did not look for him, and I'm just like, "What is Mason Mount's role then if it's not to
Yeah.
make those runs?" And Mason Mount was doing what he was told. He was doing the same thing that Rashford was doing, making those runs, those tough runs to defend against, and Anthony was just not finding him. So I'm hoping that Amorim drills in whoever's going to play that right wing back position, which it's looking like Ahmad kind of solidified that. They have to do things like, as soon as you see an option like that, they got a good run. If it's on, it's on. If it's not on and they're dragging the defender, then maybe you can cut inside. Yeah, but you just have to make a good decision there. And Anthony, time and time again, has just not made good decisions throughout his career at
Yeah,
Manchester United. And so I think Ahmad is going to be that guy going forward.
for sure.
But yeah, going back to the Everton match, man, Amorim, he is just such a great tactician when it comes to who to decide who to play on the match day, because he said after the match he decided to go to Xerxes because he thought, oh, Branthwaite and Tarkowski would be too strong for Hojlund, only because they're both two very strong center backs and they've got a good reputation that way. And it'd just be tough for Hojlund to just be constantly battling against them. So if Xerxes, like he does, continues to drop off and provide an option, like I told you about when you
Yeah.
provide the option for Delo, he can drop off, play the ball to Bruno, Kobe Mainu, anyone there, and then boom, you got Rashford and Ahmad just darting forward and making those dangerous runs that have been really hard to defend against when Xerxes pulls that line forward, because he brings those center backs and then the fullbacks just get caught out, and Rashford and Ahmad were really
Yeah.
just running riot, really. And then, I mean, it was just a very clinical day, so it was really good to see. So I don't know whether Emerim has had some specific trainings where they've just been really practicing their finishing, but it was really good to see. So I think we can be positive. I think it's a good start for Emerim. No
Yeah.
bad, no really like any crazy thoughts of, oh, Emerim out already. But standout performers, like we were saying before, I think Ahmad has been absolutely
Easily,
phenomenal in these two
easily
matches. He's
Ahmad.
been maybe our best player, but
Yeah.
Chris, there's another player who has also been a great player, and
Yeah.
you want to talk about him?
Yeah. We definitely both agree that even before Amorims come in, I think our player of the season thus far has to be Mazraoui. He has come in from Bayern and he's been putting solid performances. Like it's like he's been here for years. Like he fits in so comfortably into fullback, and with Amorim in these past games, like, he just looks so comfortable on the ball. His passing is great, his tackling is great, his positioning is great. Everything about him is just like he is our fullback, and then he the way he fits into the back four and then now the back three playing the right center back. He he looks so comfortable, and to have him and Ahmad as our right side, I think is really great, and it's starting to solidify a core part of this 11. Things obviously could shake up in the future with some injured players coming in, but I think as of now, Mazraoui has been flawless, and he's definitely been our player of the season.
Yeah, Mazraoui has been absolutely phenomenal. And one thing that we spoke about before is that Mazraoui is one of those guys who just puts his head down and he just works. He doesn't have an ego. He doesn't have this crazy entourage or whatever. He just puts his head down and has that lunch pail mentality and just
Yep.
really goes to work. And it's really exciting to see a player like that not only just putting in decent performances, but he's really raised his level since he's come to United. Because initially he was putting in some performances where I was just like, oh yeah, like he's come in for, I think, who was it? No, Shaw was injured. Yeah, Shaw
Yeah.
was injured at the start of the season, and it was just like, oh yeah, so he's going to play, and we don't know whether he's going to play right back, left back, and then Delo put some shifts in at left back, and so then Mazraoui's just been playing right back, and he's always consistent. He's always not really like lacking or anything, just putting in decent performances. But then like I feel like these last probably 7 or 8 games, he's just been putting phenomenal performances
Yeah.
in. He's not
Yeah.
just been that consistent guy. He's been probably consistent 8 or 9s, maybe even
Yeah, like
some 10s
consistent,
as
like
well.
top performances every match. Like you can just count on him. Yeah, this Mazraoui, he's gonna have a good game. He's like at that point now where he's kind of raised his own expectations in a way because every time I'm watching United, I'm like, oh, Mazraoui, he's got that right side locked. Like he's good. So he's kind of raised everyone's expectations, which is great because um like he's a new signing and he impressed right off the bat and he's been consistent, hasn't put a single foot wrong all season. So I am highly impressed with him.
Yeah, and you need those players
Yeah,
to build a squad around. You need those guys who are going
yeah,
to put consistent performances in. You don't need guys who are going to go 10 this game and then next game 3 and then the next game a
hmm
2 and the next game a 5 and then the next game a 9. You want those guys who are just consistently putting in 8s, 9s, 10s performances because without that, you're just not going to have any consistency as a team. And that's been the story of Manchester United the past, gosh, I don't even know, 12 years
yeah,
or so since Fergie's gone. And it's just been really disappointing. But yeah, building around those guys is huge. Ahmad has also been just putting in consistently good performances. I can't remember a match where I've just been like, oh yeah, Ahmad really looked poor today, or Ahmad didn't really bring anything to the table today. There's been a few players where, it's kind of been a confidence or consistency issue.
yeah.
And, I hate to say, but Marcus Rashford's one of those guys. And Garnacho is also, he's been better than Rashford, I'd say, the last year or so,
hmm
but he's still had some moments where it's just been, oh man, what was that decision? Oh,
Yeah,
that was a bad decision. But then he'll have those games where he's just crazy. So we're hoping to see Amorim really just take some of those
yeah.
guys and build their confidence back. And I mean, he's done it so far with Rashford. Rashford's been again revitalized
Kind of,
so
yeah,
far,
kind
and
of rejuvenated.
yeah, we hope that form continues. It's been interesting to see how he's fit into the system as well because, like I was saying with the Everton match, you had Xerxes who is willing to drop back and provide an
hmm
option and kind of in the midfield as an attacking midfielder role. But he is the main striker, so he's pulling those center backs.
Yeah,
But then Rashford, who is playing that right attacking mid role, is making those runs that I thought he wasn't given enough credit in the match because he was making some good runs. I mean, he scored 2 goals, and that second goal of his was just really impressive because it was a brilliant run, like brilliant run. It's those
yeah,
runs that you wanted to see him make when
hmm
Cavani was here and Cavani was making those crazy
yeah,
runs, and you would have thought, oh, Cavani will teach Rashford, or oh, Ronaldo will teach Rashford, but we just didn't consistently see it. But those runs we hope to see continuously. And
hmm
then, Chris, not to mention that corner kick goal was just beautiful
yeah,
because
yeah.
already we got a
That was a
new
good one.
coach, his new assistants, and already a set
hmm
piece. And you could tell that was a designed set piece, and it worked
Yep,
to perfection. I think it was scoring regardless of whether it took a deflection, but got a lucky deflection, went in the goal, and good
we'll
momentum
take
into
it.
the
Like
next goal. And
Rashford was wide open. Like he had time. He could have probably taken that down if he wanted to. But
oh yeah,
yeah, great goal. Great
yeah,
goal.
great goal. And then also I wanted to point out, and it's something that we didn't really talk about before the podcast, but I think even Bruno Fernandes has kind of taken a bit of a I don't know what the word is. He's improved under Amorim, and not many people know, but he's I got to check the stat on it, but I swear he's got like 7. I don't want to say 17. I'm going to just say I'll check the stat later, but he's got a lot of goals and assists already this season, and I think he's going to
We'll
continue
see.
his form. Yeah, you can check it for me while I'm talking, but I think Bruno Fernandes is one of those players that Amorim will like because he can be that creative spark in the midfield, and I think he'll be perfect for that left attacking mid role. There's a lot of players that we don't know whether they're going to fit in at United, but you've got Ahmad, solidified starter, Mazraoui, solidified starter, Bruno Fernandes, in my opinion, would be a solidified starter. But at the same time, even when I'm saying this, Rashford even said it in the
hmm
post match. we have the personnel, and with this coaching system, we have the personnel to kind of switch up things. And like I said, we had Hojlund in the Bodo Glimt match, and then we go to Xerxes in the Everton match, and it
Yeah.
was two completely different attacks. So I think we got a lot of opportunity here
Yeah.
with the squad and stuff. But yeah,
Bruno's
Chris.
got 4 goals and 9 assists. So he's got
Okay,
13 goal contributions in 20 games
solid.
this season,
Okay,
which is,
is
it's
that
good.
also counting
That's good.
international? Is that counting international as
Oh,
well?
international.
Because I think I saw the
Uh,
stat was probably including international.
oh, that is because then he has four goals
Okay,
and assists. Two goals,
yeah,
2 goals and 2 assists for Portugal. So yeah, 17 goal contributions across all competitions
wow.
for both Man United and Portugal.
So another under the radar start for Bruno
Yeah,
Fernandes, just
yeah,
because everyone does this. I mean, I was talking with, I think it was a friend who's a Spurs fan, and they were talking to me about how, oh yeah, like United, like who's even watching United? They're in 13th or whatever we were in at a certain point. Oh, they suck. But like Bruno has put in good performances. Ahmad's been putting good performances. Mazraoui's been putting good performances in. So I think those three players for
yeah.
me are definitely solidified starters. I mean,
Oh,
it,
easily. Yeah.
who are your solidified starters? And again, like I said, he does have the flexibility of changing things around. So with Xerxes and
Hmm.
Hoyland, for me right now, it's kind of up in the air for
Yeah.
who's the opponent, who would be best suited for a certain match. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we can always say solidified starters, but those three guys are guys that I
I
don't ever want
think,
to see out of the
yeah, I
squad.
think out of our attackers, as in like the up front and then the two attacking midfielders and then out wide, I think Ahmad and Bruno definitely have at least two of those four spots kind of locked. And then in in defense, it's kind of hard to say. I want to say Mazraoui, it definitely has it. Um, but you have Lenny Euro coming back from injury soon, so he's thrown into the mix. Martinez is there, De Ligt is there, Shaw is back now, Maguire's there. So there are honestly a lot of options in defense right now. You have Johnny Evans, Lindelof. We have a good selection of center backs to choose from. So I think out of all of them, based on performances, Mazraoui has to, in my opinion, Mazraoui has to be at least one of those three. Um, and then we'll see as the season goes on. Maybe Lenny Euro starts to get some time. We'll see how he fits into the team. He hasn't played a single game for us yet, so we'll see how he kind of fits into the squad. Um, but I'd say I have to agree with you. Mazraoui, Bruno, and Ahmad are definitely certified starters. I want to say Mainu will be. I think either Mainu or Ugarte have to be solidified starters too, because Ugarte brings that energy, he brings that ball winning power into the midfield, and that's what you need. Um, but you can't really say Casemiro or Eriksen are going to be solidified starters. So I think I think there's definitely a core of 4 to 5 players that are like going to be starting week in and week out, and that's how you build a team, and that's how you kind of get those consistent performances week in and week out.
Yeah, and not to mention those two midfielders. Those positions are pretty important in Amorims'
Yeah,
system
yeah,
because we saw in the first match, in the Ipswich match,
yeah,
Ipswich were really pressing us high and they were really intense and they had the legs to do so. And they had players like
yeah,
Omari Hutchinson, who, by the way, Omari Hutchinson, phenomenal player. He's a player that
yeah.
we should potentially be looking at because I think he might fit into the system well. Anyways, yeah, they had the intensity from the jump, and you could tell that the home crowd was behind them. And like I said, Ericsson and Casemiro really just didn't have the legs in them to A, press, and B, show as an option for those defenders because I think they were still understanding the system a little bit. So it was tough because Delo was being asked, he was being asked a big job, and I think that it was just tough because Casemiro and Eriksson weren't open for him so often because they just
Hmm.
don't have the legs to get open, and the Ipswich players were so easy. It was so easy to mark them and so easy to win the midfield battle because they had those two guys in there. So I'm really interested to see what it would be like with Ugarte and Mainu starting
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we haven't seen that pair yet start under Amorim. I mean, I know it's only been 3 matches, but I'm really interested to see when that happens and what happens when it
yeah,
happens because Ugarte so far for me has definitely looked a bit better under Amorim than he's looked under Ten Hag.
He's
And
improved a lot recently, Ugarte.
I I do kind of wonder if United were kind of mingling a little bit with the idea of Amorim before the season started as a kind of a just in
Hmm.
case, or if they were even
Yeah,
potentially talking to his agents or
it's
whatever. If
it's
Ugarte might have
interesting.
been a
Yeah,
signing
he
for
like
him.
yeah, maybe. Um, I think definitely because he was at Sporting, and but it's interesting. Amarim wasn't really on, or we didn't hear talks with him in the summer when after or before the FA Cup final when there were rumors about Ten Hag leaving at the end of the season. Um, so it would be interesting to know when was the first time Amarim's name kind of popped into the head of our board, and when they kind of started making those initial um, talks about whether they should replace Ten Hag or not, and when Amarim's name came into the mix.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think Ugarte, regardless of whether it was actually, because of
Hmm.
Amorim being the potential new coach or whatever, I think
Yeah,
he will be a good signing in the long run. And yeah, I think he will fit the system. I mean, he was with Amorim at Sporting, so
yeah,
how would he not fit the system? I mean,
yeah,
Amorim liked him there. Why wouldn't he like him here? So
yeah,
we'll see how it goes. I mean, I also do think Mason Mount could be a good.
yeah.
Also, we say solidified starters, but at the same time, Amorim has already displayed better. What's the word? You know, a better ability to keep the team fit and rotate the squad a little bit. Having Mason
Hmm.
Mount start in the Bodo Glimt match and Anthony, players like that, because I'd like to see Mason Mount have the ability to win over the United fans. I still like him. I mean, I know some fans have already kind of given up on him. I still hope he's successful. He really hasn't had the time to do
Yeah.
anything. Now he's got a new manager, and he looked positive in the Bodo Glimt match, in my opinion. And like I said, he was making some good runs, just like Rashford was. But Anthony wasn't really finding him. Bruno wasn't really finding him as much as he might have been able to. But it's going to be interesting to see going forward what the team is like. You did say that Lenny Euro is back, which
Yeah.
Eminem did confirm today in the press conference. He said he's a special talent. He's really fast, a modern defender, and it's good to have those guys when you want to press high. I'm excited to see him in practice.
Hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see. In this specific match against Arsenal on Wednesday is going to be fascinating because we don't have Lissandro Martinez or Kobe Mainu. But
Yeah.
with Lissandro Martinez being out, does that then force Emrim to play Euro at left center back or Mazraoui left center back and
Yeah.
Euro right center back? Or is he going to go with maybe Maguire as center back and
Yeah, because
move
they're
to
they're
linked out
both they're
to?
both fit now. I
Yeah, because
yeah, I
I
don't know if
personally don't
Euro will
see.
start. I
Yeah,
highly doubt that. But
yeah, yeah, and I don't see Maguire playing left or right center back. He kind of just
oh no,
he seems like a central center back to me in a
and
back
then
three at
but that's
least.
where DeLit's got that position over him. So I
True.
don't know if we'd see DeLit and Maguire together in a back three.
Yeah, that might be
Uh,
interesting. But
Unless we're playing like a really, I don't know, high high pressing team, and or I don't know if we were to be playing a low block, maybe you'd want to have both of them in the back because they're very good aerially and they're very physical, so it'd be good to have those presences. But I mean, based on the way that we've been playing, it looks like we only need kind of one rock in in the back three, and then um, the others are allowed to play more progressively and push the ball forward. So um, we'll see. It's good. It is good that Maguire's back because now it's more options and it's more competition, more the everyone's healthy. It's better for the team. So
yeah, I'm excited to see Lenny Euro as well though because we
oh,
haven't really
definitely
seen him. I mean, we only saw him in one
W-
match in the
one
preseason.
preseason game.
Yeah, I'm eager to see. Imagine,
Hmm.
getting injured against Arsenal in the preseason, then starting against Arsenal as his first match. That would be crazy
Yeah.
if he did start. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with that. Chris, what have you made of the formation and the system that Emma has been deploying so far? I mean, it's pretty similar to what he's been doing at Sporting. I was
Yeah.
interested to see, like I said, about the Xerxes becoming kind of the forward that drops back and lets Rashford, who I guess it's kind of
Yeah,
positionless up there
almost
and
like
attack a
a
little bit.
false nine almost. Kind of him dropping
Yeah,
back and that leaving in the space and behind for players like Rashford or Ahmad to run into or Garnacho because I think Amram has noticed or he knows that we have a lot of pace up front. We have a lot of pace and strength, and we just need to if we can get the line to the other team's line to kind of drop back by like players like Xerxes dropping in and making those holes in that defense. And then just playing in balls in behind. We know Bruno is insane at this. First, whenever he gets the ball, wherever he is, his first thought is, can I play in Rashford? Can I play in Ahmad? Can I play in Garnacho? Can I just loft it over the back line? Um, so just creating that space in behind is going to be really important. And then players like Rashford and Garnacho and Ahmad having those players to be able to onto balls and then play cutbacks like we saw against Everton or cut inside and shoot. We've seen that a lot, and I think we just have to keep doing that because it's been working, and we have the players who can play that way. So I think the system definitely suits them for that. Um, Having that extra space out wide, having those two wide players kind of holding the touchline as well, kind of keeps those the two opposing fullbacks kind of stretched. So there's going to be gaps in the back four. So I think it's worked so far, and I think it's going to improve because it's only been 3 matches. So um, you just got to just keep at it. You got to keep listening to what Amrin is saying, and then we're gonna see. Hopefully, we'll see big improvements coming soon.
indeed, indeed. With some big matches actually coming up. We've got a pretty
Yeah,
tough stretch
yeah,
of
we do.
matches, but let's not look too far ahead. We've got this Wednesday against Arsenal. Chris, let's
Mhm.
start off with who do we think should be starting in that match?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously Onana. We haven't talked about Onana. Onana's been phenomenal, in my opinion,
Oh yeah,
recently.
give him
But
his
I think
flowers.
he's again solidified. Um, let's see, back three. We don't have Martinez, like we said. So I'm gonna go Luke Shaw. He's played a. He's come on as a sub in a couple matches, but I think he's finally got to the point where he's gonna start. So I'm going with the Shaw, Delit, and Mazraoui back three. Um, and then let's see. Maybe my Mainu's out, so Garnacho, and then in the midfield, maybe Ugarte and Casemiro. I'm gonna go with
Okay.
and Ahmad, or oh no, scratch that. Delo on the left, and then Ahmad on the right, and then Ugarte and Casemiro in the middle, and then I would go with Bruno and might have to say Rashford, Bruno Rashford, and then I think he'll go with Hojlund up top.
You think he'll go with
Yeah,
Hoyland?
I think he'll go with Hojlund.
Okay. Why?
Yeah,
Why do you think Hoyland over Xerxes?
I don't know. I think he's kind of doing this thing where he's you know, ping ponging these strikers back and forth, seeing who's gonna you know earn that maybe long term spot. So he's given Hojlund his chance, and he got 2 goals in the Europa League. Gave Xerxes his chance. He got 2 goals against Everton. So it's whether if he wants to play the same way, where Xerxes kind of pulls in and pulls out Gabriel or Saliba, and then we run in behind and we play that way, or we kind of go more direct and try to play Hoyland and then win the ball further up the pitch, and then we have that space already. So it'll be interesting what he chooses, but I think Hoyland is good, could be more well suited for this game.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I would probably agree for the most part. Obviously, Onana, who's no one's taking his spot, and then I don't know if I'd put Shaw in though. I He probably will play Shaw, but I would risk it personally. I would go with Euro because I think Euro's got to be back
That's
if he's.
crazy. I don't know if
I
he's ready to
think,
start. I don't know if he's going to start. That's a big game to start. Your first match is
but
away at Arsenal.
here's my rationale. Here's my rationale.
Okay, let me
I
hear
would
it.
play him at left center back. Only reason being, and I don't think Amarim's going to think this, but as a Manchester United fan, we've seen a lot of Arsenal Manchester United matches, and there's been a theme on the left
Like,
side.
oh yeah, I know what you're
There's
gonna
been a theme.
say.
Luke Bukayo Saka has kind of like dominated Luke Shaw a little bit, and obviously I know having a back three with wing backs that Delo is fully capable of coming back on defense, and he's been doing well at that. So he's been asked a lot, and he's done pretty well. And I think it'd be okay to have him, try and helping come back against Bukayo Saka with Luke Shaw. But I don't know. I
Hmm.
feel like having a bigger presence in Lenny Euro, who is
Yeah.
quick himself, and he's a great defender in his
Yeah.
own right. So
Well,
I don't know. I mean, I probably see him going with Shaw, and I think that's probably what's going to happen. But I personally would probably go with Lenny Euro
yeah.
just because of that. And
Interesting.
obviously, we
You're
don't know
confident.
if Saka
Yeah.
will, cook Lenny Euro as well.
Yeah.
But in the matches we've seen, it's been pretty noticeable that Luke Shaw has
Hmm.
kind of gotten kind of gotten
He's
kind of
got a
getting cooked
soft he got a
by
soft spot
Bukayo
for
Saka.
Saka because they're like buddies
He
in
does.
England.
Yeah, I don't think he's
I
letting
have
him intentionally
I
do
have a
it, but I
question
think
for you,
Saka.
Spencer.
What's that?
So do you think Delo could play in the back three? Do you think Delo could play left center back or right center
So
back?
Delo, similar to Mazarawi, in my opinion, is one of those utility players that I could see playing in a lot of positions. That's a tough question. I would still say no because I think he's so valuable as a wingback, and I think having the balance of him playing as a fullback before going into wingback versus Ahmad being a winger going into wingback,
Yeah.
I think that balance is what Amorim needs right now because
Yeah.
you would expect a winger not to be as good at defending. Luckily, Ahmad has kind of shown us differently, and
Yeah.
he's pressed really well and stuff. But I do think Delo is just better as a wing back, and I think that's
It's
kind of just
it's
where
definitely
he should
yeah,
be.
an interesting pair because if let's say you have Shaw and Delo as your kind of left side, uh, left
Yeah,
center back slash wing back duo, so you have that kind of more strength, security of like a seasoned left back and in Shaw, and or you go with a more like kind of quicker, more energetic in Delo and Garnacho. So if you have Delo left center back, Garnacho left wing back. And then it's, do you think Garnacho is going to come back and defend well? And then you kind of have that more attacking side going forward. Um, but I think I mean I said I think it'll be Shaw and Delo on that left side. Um, but I think it's definitely options that Amram can consider the different profiles he wants out wide because with Mazraoui and Ahmad on the right, do you want to kind of mimic their same profile on the left, or do you want to kind of have a different type of tactic between that duo? Because that's an important duo. Your left center back slash left wing back duo and the same thing on the right side. So having those duos are playing well together, that's important for his tactics to pull off correctly.
yeah, I agree. I do think he probably will end up going with Shaw, and what might happen is that he goes with Shaw, and then I mean, obviously, I'm not
And then
hoping that
Euro comes
Shaw.
on.
Yeah, I'm not hoping that Shaw plays poorly against Saka. Obviously, I'm hoping for the best. But I think that what might happen is Shaw kind of performs a little bit lackluster. He's still come back from injury as well in his own way. But I think Lenny Euro might come on later in the
I
match
could see that happening
to
because
solidify it.
Shaw might not have a full 90 in him. Like he might I
Yeah,
think he's at the point where
Euro as well.
he could do 60. I think I don't know how much he do you know remember how when he came on against Everton or I don't know how
I
long
want to
he played.
say he came on
Um
around like the 66 mark or something like that.
okay, so he got like roughly a half hour. I think he's probably able to do around 60. So you could see Amorim put Shaw on for the first 60 and then or 70 and then bring Euro in and kind of ease him into the game a bit. This also depends on how the match is going. Um, it's all whether he trusts Euro to come into his first Premier League or first match for Manchester United, first Premier League match, and if he can perform. Because if Arsenal, playing really well, they could be pressing us a lot, and for a young defender to come into your first match at the Emirates, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be an easy match, not just for Euro, but for the team as well. So yeah, we're going to
Yeah,
need
yeah.
to be
You've
sharp and focused.
you've kind of convinced me. I think Amarim will take. I mean, I still would go for.
Yeah,
Maybe I wouldn't go for Lenny Euro anymore, but I think you've done some good convincing because it is a big match. It's away at Arsenal. They're a really good side that's in good form. They press pretty high, and having a young guy like that come in for his first match would be very tough, and that might cause some mistakes. So I agree. You'd probably
Yeah,
go with
but
Luke Shaw.
then you have oh my God, who was it? Who played away at PSG and had the insane match with Wan-Bissaka? Was it
Twanzebe.
no Twansivi?
Oh,
Yeah, remember
yeah,
like
yeah,
he wasn't playing at all, and he started away at PSG and put in like an absolute
true.
masterclass. So it players who
I
are
think that was during
naturally
COVID, though,
just
right?
good players. Yeah, it was COVID ball.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. We'll
But
see. We'll see what happens. But
yeah,
also, Luke Shaw came in at the 56th minute, so
56th.
I think
Okay.
I think he probably will be more fit. But again, at least you got Lenny Yoro to
Yeah.
come on. Hopefully, after we're winning,
Hmm.
hopefully.
Yeah.
But we shall see what happens. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I couldn't see Delo playing left center back because then you would have Garnacho probably at left wing back, and
Hmm.
that would be problematic in my opinion. So I don't.
Yeah.
I think Garnacho needs to build form from the bench before we can see him starting matches
I
again.
agree.
And
I agree.
also, one thing I've heard from a lot of Man United fans before is that Garnacho typically actually does a lot of his good work when players are tired, and he's not. So coming off the bench, he has been a bit more of a he's been a standout sub really,
Yeah.
and in a lot of his United career, honestly, but lately especially. And so I think him coming off the bench this season, he's been doing well at coming off the bench and making an impact. So I trust him coming off the bench more than I trust Rashford coming off the bench, So
Hmm.
I'd like to think that he stays on the bench for this match. And yeah, so I'll go with
Yeah.
going back to my starting 11 prediction.
Yeah.
I'll change it to Luke Shaw at left center back and then Delo at left wing back because I think Delo hasn't really done anything crazy wrong to show
Okay.
that he should not be
Yeah.
the starter. And then midfield, yeah, no Kobe Mainu because of his suspension, which also I'm sorry. Some of the yellow cards are so soft that I
Yeah.
think that
I hate them. I hate them.
they need to increase the yellow card threshold for getting suspensions
Yeah.
because 5 in the first was it 14 matches or
Yeah.
no, it's 19 matches because yeah, half the
Yeah.
season. Yeah, 5 is so little for how small some of these yellow cards are, especially
Yeah.
like talking back yellow cards. Really, like I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that's absurd.
No,
So I
it's
think
very
that
absurd.
the Premier League needs to look at that. I mean, they've had the PJMOL has had a howler of a start to the season, really.
They should
But
also be able to repeal yellow cards. I don't know why that hasn't been a thing.
oh yeah, I mean,
Like
United got that red
you're
card
not allowed to
repealed.
look at a yellow card. It can be a complete mistake. And you got a yellow. And like they show the replay and it's like it wasn't a
You
foul
can't
at
look at
all.
that.
But you can't look it back
Yeah,
and you can't change it. It's like
it's
it's
dumb.
insane. But
It's
whatever.
dumb. And
Whatever.
now against one of our big opponents, we got no
Yeah.
Mainu or Martinez, two
Yeah.
very phenomenal players that
Yeah.
could be helping us. But
Although Maino's yellow, I remember it was yellow to be fair.
that one, yeah, that one probably was.
Yeah, he just like lost the ball right in midfield and like tugged the guy back. Like it was a yellow. But
Yeah,
maybe one of
yeah.
his previous four yellows may not have been a yellow. Who
I
knows?
just I think 5 is so small, but is what it is.
No, I agree. I
Anyways,
agree.
moving on, my midfield, I'd probably go with Ugarte. We need some energy in there, and
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
if we did play Ericsson and Casemiro as the pair, we would probably
Oh
get
no,
dominated in the
there's
midfield.
no way he plays them.
Yeah, we need some energy.
So
So
who's
Ugarte, and
partnering Ugarte?
I'm gonna go with Casemiro. I don't think he's done too
Okay.
many bad things. I mean, obviously the first match, he was probably the one at fault for the Hutchinson goal because he didn't step
Hmm.
to him fast enough. I mean, it was a wonderful strike by
Yeah,
Hutchinson, but still, he could have stepped to him a little bit quicker. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I think him, he's a bit more of a playmaker than I think United fans really think. So
yeah,
having Ugarte with him could kind of free him to try and spring some balls out to
yeah,
Ahmad and Delo and whoever's really providing the width. So I think him and Ugarte would be a good pairing for this
yeah.
match.
Plus,
And
if
then on the
like
right,
let's say later in the match, let's say we're not doing we need to find a goal towards the end. Like look who you're gonna have on the bench. Christian Eriksen. Bring him on. You get exudes in creativity. So just having him as an option on the bench I think would be great as well to come on.
yeah, I agree. And at right wing back, obviously Ahmad. I don't think I
Ahmad.
don't think any fan could see Ahmad being benched after the performances he's put in so far. And then the two midfield positions that are the attacking ones, I kind of, it sounds bland, but I'm kind of going to agree with you and keep what he's been going with in
Hmm.
the Everton match with Bruno and Rashford. But I don't know, maybe he puts Mason Mount in alongside Casemiro or alongside Ugarte maybe, but I think he's just going to go with Rashford and Bruno. I think that's the right call as well because
Hmm.
Bruno's not been putting in any
Yeah.
bad performances as well under Amorim so far, and Rashford's been revitalized, and he likes a good goal against Arsenal, so it could
Hmm.
be vital for that. And I don't know, I kind of actually disagree with you on the Hojlund point because what Amorim said after the Everton match was that Branthwaite and Tarkowski, or whatever his name is, they're two very big and strong physical guys, and William Saliba and Gabriel are no different. So I think having Xerxes would actually be beneficial, not only just because he comes back, but winning the midfield battle with him in there is going to be a lot easier than it would be with Hoyland. And I mean, Hoyland, I do think he can hold up the ball decent, but Xerxes is just on a different level compared to Hoyland. And having that ability to come into the midfield and help them out would be huge, especially against a pretty darn solid midfield, one of the best in the
Hmm.
league, I'd say, with Declan Rice and Kai Havertz doesn't really play there, but Odegaard and some of those guys that I think if he's in there, he's going to cause some chaos when it comes to who
Hmm.
picks him up? Did the center backs pick him up? Does Rice pick him up? Then does that leave Rashford or does that leave Bruno? Like I think it'd be better for us to go with him because then Rashford can make those runs in behind, and even if Rashford doesn't get the ball, that might free up some space for Ahmad to get the ball out wide, and Ahmad's dangerous, and I think
Yeah.
that'd be smart. So yeah, I'm just gonna change that one thing from what you said. I'm gonna
Okay.
put Xerxes in there only because I think they're two very physical guys, and there's a lot of teams in the Premier League that you would go, oh yeah, they're two really physical center backs. So will Hoyland ever start? But I think he will have his time and place, and I think Amorim just really needs to see him in matches and in training
Hmm.
show that physicality that he does have and show that hey, I can
Yeah.
beat a Gabriel or I can beat a Ruben Diaz one day. And he might not be able to beat them right now, but maybe one day. We'll see. But yeah, that's who I'm going to go with. Xerxes just scored two
Okay.
goals. I mean, Hoyland's still in good form as well, but there's also good options off the bench. So we'll see what happens with that. Chris, what's your score prediction for this match?
It's a tough one because Arsenal have been playing well. They're on the back of a 5-2 win against Southampton. And we're off of a 4-0 win. So I don't know.
I think it was West. They beat West Ham.
Oh, it was West Ham. Sorry, it was West
Yeah,
Ham. Um,
yeah, you're good.
it's gonna be tough. I mean, I always want to say United are gonna win. I always want to have that, bias, optimist view. Um, So yeah, I'm gonna stick with that, like I usually do, because I don't think we're in a place where you can expect us to lose. If Ten Hag was still in, you would say Arsenal would dismantle us, um, in their form right now. But I think with the resurgence of the new coaching and the way some of our players have been performing, we're not the same Manchester United we were a month ago. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna bet on us to win. The score, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do a solid 2-1. Classic
Two
2-1
one.
win. Yep.
A safe
That's
score
that that's
prediction
that's
there.
a that's a safe it is a safe score prediction. But I
Okay.
think I think both teams are pretty good defensively. So who knows if this one could if it runs amok and gets like 3+4 plus goals. We'll see. But I think a 2-1 is pretty reasonable.
Yeah. Well, Chris, you didn't watch the Arsenal versus West Ham match, I assume, and I did. I saw our former player Aaron Wan-Bissaka score a brilliant
Yeah.
goal. Actually, it was very beautiful, and you know what I think is going to happen? I think Ahmad is going to absolutely cook, and I'm going to go
Better
with
cook.
I'm going to go with a 3-2 victory, and
Okay.
Ahmad's going to get two goals and maybe have an assist because I got a feeling Ahmad is just going to I
Yeah,
absolutely like this time he's gonna score because last time he was just providing the goals and
yeah.
providing the pressure.
Who is he up
But
against? Zinchenko?
who's the
Or is
left?
he?
Is Ben White the right back? Yeah, Ben White's the
I
right
think
back,
I
I
think
think.
Ben
So
White's
it's
injured
it's
right now.
oh, I think it's Calafori, whatever his name is.
Let's see.
Arsenal versus West Ham starting.
Let's see.
So against West Ham, who did they start with? Let's see here. They started
It
with
was
Calafiori
Zinchenko
as
left
left
back.
back. Oh, Timber.
Oh wait,
Timber was the right back. And Calafiori,
I'm just not looking at the right thing.
Calafiori was their left
Let's see.
back. Yeah, Calafiori. Sorry. I'm sorry I'm pronouncing his name wrong, Arsenal fans, if any of you guys are watching. But yeah, Calafiori. I'm not going to get it right. Calafiori is their left back. It seems like. I don't know if he got injured or not. But him and Timber are the fullbacks that
Yeah.
started the last match. So we'll see if they started this. You know that
Did
Tierney
he
is
go off?
back with
He
Arsenal?
came off injured though.
Who?
Calafiori? Or no?
Calafiori injured.
And then Zinchenko came on.
So I know Zinchenko did come on. I don't know if
I know Gabriel got hurt.
here. Let me see. What is Football London saying? Calafiori. I'm sorry, but this Calafiori guy he's not doing anything against Ahmad. Yeah,
No
he's
shot.
removed
Or
early.
Mazraoui. Came off in the 56th. And then Ben White is injured. Ahmad's gonna cook.
Yeah, Ahmad's
Although
gonna
Arsenal,
cook.
they have a good midfield. We'll see.
Yeah, this is Ricardo Calafiori's injury is unknown, so he's probably gonna play. We'll see what actually ends up
Yeah.
happening. But regardless, I'm sticking with my Ahmad. It doesn't matter who he's playing against; he's gonna cook.
I like
Unless he was
that.
playing against maybe
I like that score
Alfonso
line.
Davies. Even there,
Do you think
3-2 victory
we're
United.
conceding 2 goals?
We probably are, honestly. They've been in good form. They scored 5 goals in the last game. Also, pause. They did get 2 penalties that were kind of soft penalties, in my opinion. Penalties that United probably were
I
not getting penalties
wouldn't know.
calls for.
But
I mean, Ahmad,
yeah,
I don't know if you saw it I remember in the
Mhm.
Everton match, Ahmad got like definitely pulled down. And if
yeah.
that was Arsenal, yeah, it looked pretty similar to some of the
I remember
penalties
they didn't even
Arsenal
show
did
a
against West
replay
Ham.
on that.
Yeah, see, I mean,
Marcel.
it's fine. We won 4-0.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
at this point, I'm not expecting a penalty ever. So
Mhm.
hopefully there's no dark magic from the refs here to give Arsenal some crazy pens. But
Yeah,
hopefully we get a pen. That'd be cool. We haven't got a pen in a while, I feel like.
I know.
But
It'd be nice.
it would be nice. It would be nice. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna go 3-2. Ahmad cooks. Maybe Rashford. Because Rashford loves scoring against Arsenal. So I think Rashford scores on an assist from Ahmad.
Rashford
Ahmad
and then
scores the
Ahmad
other 2.
double. I like it.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Maybe a Garnacho late winner. He does.
Yeah.
He owes us one after
After last year.
where he was offsides by like half a toenail. Oh my gosh!
So annoying.
I had, or was it his shoulder?
That was the downfall
It was,
of our season. I remember.
it was insanely tight, and I had Arsenal fans going, "Oh well, it was definitely offsides, bro." What is like half a toenail doing for you?
What happened to the rule giving the attacker the benefit of the doubt if it was too close? I don't think ever
That's-
happened. I don't think that's happened once.
That's not.
Since
I think
that's
that's
been
only.
announced.
That's only in the
Oh,
Eredivisie.
I thought that was a rule.
I think that's
in the
only in the
Prem.
Eredivisie. Did they actually? I'm pretty sure they didn't make that a rule.
I don't know. I could be wrong.
I mean,
because I guess
well,
maybe because it hasn't happened.
Yeah,
I think
if
it's
they
so
did,
dumb.
then they're lying because
Yeah.
they should give them the benefit. If it's like a toenail, like
A
really,
toenail is not
But-
giving you an advantage. Like,
but then it gets subjective and stuff, so it's just weird. I like Arsene Wenger's idea that if any of them is onside, they're onside. But you know, the same thing's gonna happen if like a toenail is onside. It's gonna be really
Yeah.
tight and it's gonna be hard to see, and people are still gonna complain. But I still
Yeah.
think about how many people that would bring to watch the sport in our country, in America, because Americans, their whole thing about soccer is, oh yeah, they don't score that much. They don't score that much. In American football, they just give them 7 points for a touchdown. So it's like,
Yeah.
all right, if we gave 7 points, we would have won 28-0 in our last match. and
Yeah.
Arsenal's last match would have been 35-14. So
Hmm.
it's hard to say. Also, soccer, like it's just a lot harder to score than most other sports. So
Yeah.
it's definitely different. But I do think, yeah, if Arsene Wenger's idea of any part of the body is onside, it's a goal and it's onside, I think that'd be a cool idea because think about how many more goals we'd score, and it would change. Defending would become a lot tougher because you couldn't just
That would
offside
be,
traps would
yeah. Those would
almost be
become
eliminated.
obsolete, basically.
Yeah,
That'd be
completely.
interesting.
It would be interesting, and we'd see a lot more goals. I remember back when VAR wasn't a thing, and even in matches where we play against some of those in the EFL Cup when we play against certain sides and there's no
Yeah.
VAR, and it could have been offsides, but like we're not really checking, so it's a
Yeah.
lovely thing because like if the sideline ref
Hmm.
doesn't call the offsides, you get your goal.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Going back to it, yeah, 3-2 victory. We've got some big matches coming
I
up. We'll
like
talk
it.
about those in other podcasts. But yeah, big match against Arsenal. Make sure you guys tune in.
Yep.
Hopefully, United get the victory. Chris, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I want a good game. I want a good performance. I like the way we've been playing. I want to see us be energetic. I want us to have the ball. I want to see possession. So I want to see, yeah, energy, high press, and some goals.
For sure. All right. Well, that's all we got for you
Yep.
guys. Hopefully, United get that W, and we will see you guys next time.
Yep.
Peace.
Peace.